Okay, kids, we are back. This is Matt Thomas, and Matt is an awesome person. Great, I have to say now, great friend of mine, I'm proud to say. Matt, tell the kids about yourself.
Um, so I grew up in Clearwater, Florida. Uh, shoot. I went to St. Cecilia School growing up, and then eventually CCC. I played soccer, basketball, tried out for baseball, wasn't very good at that. Football growing up, but eventually landed on soccer. Realized that was my favorite sport. Played soccer for Coach Harte at CCC. When it came time to go to college, I ended up attending the Naval Academy, which was about the farthest thing that I expected to be doing. And after my 4 years there, I entered the Marine Corps, which is a possibility from the Naval Academy. Since then, I've had an interesting experience, which includes training in Virginia and then getting stationed out in Southern California. My first assignment, I was in charge of a group of snipers, and I took them to Australia for a year, 6 months. When I came back, I went through a course called the Basic Reconnaissance Course, and have subsequently been assigned at a position at a reconnaissance unit, which, although I do not find myself to be consider myself to be a thrill seeker, has led me to jump out of planes, go diving, and call in airstrikes from aircraft in various locations. And I'm finishing up my time doing that in California, and I'm about to go do something similar in Japan. So I had no idea what I wanted in life, but I've been pretty happy so far. It's led me on a strange journey, but I've enjoyed it, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Now, Matt, what is your rank in the Marines right now, and what did you start at, and how did you progress up to that rank?
So going through the Naval Academy, you'll commission as an officer. So my first rank was second lieutenant, which was followed by first lieutenant, which was followed by what I am now, which is captain. After that, it's the rank major, and it's relatively competitive to pick that up, and that should be I should be coming up on that in the next 2 or 3 years. But we'll see about that.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, so kids, Matt is a leader. He's a born leader. I know that because I got the chance to see him and work with him when he was in his formative years, and watched him be tested and watched him respond to being tested. And it's awesome. It's we can all feel a little safer that Matt is one of the people that is protecting us, our freedoms right now. Matt, can you share with the kids, because I'm sure you've had to go through some tough training. Can you share with the kids a story or two about some of your tougher training situations? I know you've told me lots of them.
Yes. So my original job is it's what's called a ground intelligence officer, which is a mix of infantry, which is kind of the classic ground movement, ground pounding, military style person, and a mix of intelligence, with a focus on intelligence collection. So that's kind of led me to do the sniper thing, which is more of an intelligence collection asset than a shooter and the reconnaissance unit gig. But to get to those units, I've had to go through specifically 2 hard courses. One, infantry officer course for the Marine Corps, and the second, basic reconnaissance course. And infantry officer's course is about 90 days. It's a week of classroom instruction followed by a week of in the field or outdoors. And in the field outdoors, you are always hiking with a heavy pack, sleeping very little, not getting fed very much, and just constantly on the move. I think I lost 15 or 20 pounds just from the daily grind and not being able to eat enough. And basic reconnaissance course was very similar, and that specifically, the last week, it was a week of constant exercises, and I think in 7 days I probably slept 7 hours. It was pretty.
Wow.
It was not fun. And that ended with a 15-mile hike where they throw tear gas at you, which is illegal by American standards, but somehow the military can get away with it. I think we banned what they throw at us in the Geneva Convention, but for some reason it's okay for training. So that was definitely an interesting experience. And another one that sticks out to me is infantry officer courses. The hikes, they were intentionally extremely difficult. And I remember having to hike, I don't know how many miles, but I think my pack weighed about 130 pounds. And ooh. I think I've told you this story, Coach, but at one point I just was hiking along, and I was like, I could sit down right now, and that I could quit, and it would be so easy. But I knew I'd already told you, and I knew you had already told camp about what I was doing. And I knew if I came back, you would ask. And I didn't really want to explain to camp that I quit. I could explain that I got dropped, but explaining that I quit on my own accord, I didn't really feel like doing that to camp. So I was like, yeah, I'll just keep walking. And actually later on, someone did exactly what I wanted to do and just sat down. And I didn't think about it much until I saw him about a year later, and he had a job that he did not want and did not enjoy his life, and kind of validated my decision. So they were not easy. They're mentally tough and physically challenging. So glad they're good experiences, though. I think it makes you stronger and makes you a better person. And I'm definitely better for having done it, for having finished them.
Man, that story, I'm honored to know that the kids that we work with can be that of much of a motivator for you, and that's awesome. And you're the kids you're talking to now, Matt. We don't treat, as you know, we don't treat them any different than any of the kids we've ever had, any of your teams that you ever played on. It's all, some kids are older, some kids are younger, but it's all basically the same general idea, which is why we're asking you to talk with us right now, because, it's about respecting them, and it's about showing respect for them and their ability to understand things and to grasp things. And so anyway, I'm rambling a little bit now, so let me get back on track. I wanted to also ask you regarding the difficulty of your training. How do you feel about it? Is it important that you train this hard? Is this good? Do you embrace it? Do you feel like, yeah, this is good, this is how it should be? How do you feel about training as hard as you do?
I think that can be summed up in one story. Yes, I feel good about it. I think it's the way it should be, and I try to replicate that hard training, maybe not with the tear gas, but that type of training with my Marines. And I had one of my more experienced Marines come up to me and say after hard training, he's like, I feel like we've done so much in training that if we actually were to go to combat, like, it would be easy. And that's exactly what it's for. So you train hard to give yourself so many different experiences that you are ready for anything when the time comes for you to actually do your real job and go to war.
And with you, there's no margin for error in that moment. When you go to war, people's lives depend on it. Our lives depend on it. So I'm glad you're out there carrying those 130-pound bags for us. Thank you for that. So Matt, what kind of a kid were you when you were 9, 10, 11 years old? Do you remember yourself at those ages?
Well, that was 20 years ago, which is scary. I know at that time I enjoyed playing outside a lot. I enjoyed. I think I played video games at that time too, but I think I had a healthy balance of inside and outdoor activities, which was driven by my parents. That was about the time I started playing competitive soccer. That was about the time I started meeting friends in my neighborhood, which was a real plus. I had a group of 5 or 6 dudes that I would go up to the Bel Air Rec Center and play soccer with, go to their houses and sleep over and all that. I don't think I was much of a troublemaker, although you'd have to get my parents' input on that. But I think, what kind of kid was I when I was 9, 10, or 11? I was the baby of the family because I had 2 older sisters. So I think having sisters, not brothers, made me weak initially, but I had benefits later on from having sisters and not brothers. So I wasn't a very tough kid. That's definitely not. I think I had to get toughened up later through other means, probably you, Coach. But healthy mix of indoor outdoor activities. I think that was pretty good for development. But who knows?
Well, you know, Matt, it's great to hear you say this because, you know, kids in this age, some of them, they're not the finished product at all. Some of them doubt themselves or wonder, you know, am I any good? Am I strong? Am I this? Am I that? For people to hear you say, I don't know if I was that tough enough at that age, but now here you are, a Marine, doing all the things you're doing. I think people can take that. I think a kid can take that and can work with it and can maybe make a vision of themselves off of that. And I think that's great. That's valuable. Do you remember PE class in school when you were that age?
I remember enjoying it. There are very few specifics I remember. I know there were things like dodgeball or station activities or making a jump rope routine, I think, is one of the weeks that we did. Or just something as simple as like running around around a cone square in a grass field. That I really enjoyed that. I think if I was told to do that for 45 minutes now, I would not. But it was always something active. I remember the like presidential fitness tests. I don't know if they still have those. I remember being really jealous at some kid because he could do like 20 push-ups and I could do like 4, which I've since been able to eclipse that, thankfully. But I just remember it being active, like anything. It could have been the dumbest things, but it was active. And I remember that was, you know, one of the classes I look forward to every day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and I know I was going to ask you about camp, but maybe we can come back around to that. What I would like to do now, Matt, is ask you. I've sent you a video of our kids performing their routines to music. You've watched it. What impression, if any, do you have about that?
I think my initial impression is that it's extremely organized and the kids look like they're having fun. And I don't think I've seen a group of kids that organized ever. Like, normally, if you were to tell me I'm going to interact with, I don't know, 300 or
200 kids on that tape.
Yeah, 300 kids at once. Like, I'd get ready to start pulling out my hair just because it would be like herding cats. So I'm sure that took a lot of dedication on your part and everyone else's part to help put that together. I like the music selection. It was very eclectic. It was all over the place, which I like. So I thought that was cool. But I saw Janet. I remember talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
I hope she's doing well.
Yeah, she is.
But I was pretty impressed. Like, I would have a hard time getting my Marines to do something that organized. There'd probably be a very big pushback from doing a dance routine as a United States Marine. But, you know, that's okay.
So Matt, thank you for those awesome words. Really appreciate it. One of the things I do is I will tell the kids, guys, what we're doing is unique. There's not a lot of people doing this, but the thing is, this is the only school that many of them have ever gone to. So for all they know, this is what everybody does. You know, they don't really have a necessarily, especially kids that have only been to our school, don't necessarily have a perspective. So to hear you say that that might be the most organized thing you've ever seen kids do, that really means something. Did you know, Matt, that I don't know if I told you this, there's a theme every year to the whole thing. And that year, the theme was the new kid at school. And what we said was to the kids was, you can tell a lot about a school by the way they treat the new kid. So the theme of the new kid at school isn't really about the new kid. It's about the school and how they perceive the new kid, and so that became the theme of the entire year. So all of that eclectic group of songs actually was tied to that theme in one way or another. So every year we do that. This year, you'll love our theme this year. It's not just the bricks; it's the mortar. And so always focusing on what holds the bricks together, and you either can have good mortar or bad mortar. And so there's always a theme, and then we select the music that ties back to the theme and somehow tells the story of the theme. So I think that helps the kids. I hope it does. Anyway, they would have to be the ones to tell you that. But anyways, well, so I wanted to ask you. You did work in our soccer camp. You did go to the soccer camp. So by work, one of the things I'll let you know is I try to make every day at Cypress Woods like a day at Marauder Soccer Camp. Just in the way that, what do you remember about camp? What do you remember about going there and about working there?
Um, so I went to. I think I can claim the biggest gap in attendance in MSC history because I went when I was 6. I took a 10-year hiatus, and I went when I was 16. And I remember I actually drove myself to camp that week, which was probably another first for MSC. I don't know. I don't remember the last time you had 16-year-olds in your camp. I was coached by Coach Harte. Coach Josh.
Kent? Josh Kent?
Josh Kent.
Yes.
Yeah. And as a camper, I just remember having fun. I have a feeling since I was already in high school, Josh Kent had some ulterior motives and was trying to test me, and probably directed by you, see what this kid's about. So I don't know if I've passed or failed that test, but it was just always something ridiculous was always happening, which was good because I think it took the kids' minds. It took my mind off how tired I was, but it was a very inclusive environment. It was an environment where there were cliques, but the cliques were open to other people. So I don't know if you can consider that a clique, but you have the people that played cards. You have the people that each coach usually had his own, following disciples. But just the culture of the camp allowed for anyone to flow in between those groups. I think when I was 6 and I went the juggling competition was won by someone that juggled 6 times. So I think that's a testament to the progress of soccer in the last 20 years. I think my more formative memories of MSC were as a coach. I did it 8 years in a row. I would have trouble remembering exactly my how many years I owe if I were to apply for the MSC Senate in the future. But I had a blast doing that, to the point where I would come back from California in the summer and look forward to doing that on my free time. And I remember that being a coach there probably taught me more about leadership than I think Carrie Wagner said this too. It taught me more about leadership than being in the Naval Academy, which is, kind of makes me wonder why we're spending so much. The Naval Academy is spending $250,000 in each kid's education, but that's a debate for another time. When I did it for the cost of camp, but I remember having fun. I remember being thankful that you always gave me the kids that were old enough to understand my sense of humor and not be 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. And it was always just a positive environment for coaches and kids to be in. Always music going on. Like I said, always something crazy going on. I think the funniest thing I've ever heard is Brady, a 6-year-old Brady, suggesting Dinosaur Invasion as a team name for the Natural Disasters Cup. But I just, specific memories other than that, I think I remember the summer I was supposed to go to the Naval Academy. I challenged the camp to beat me in goalie wars.
Oh, I remember that.
They never did, and they never got to shave my head. I should have done it at the end of the camp. I should have done it the Friday afternoon to make it fun. I didn't, and I just went home and shaved my head myself that night. Kind of a jerk move, but what else? I still stay in touch with Tanner Minnis.
Yes.
I ran into Will Wired.
Oh, really?
On a trap and skeet range in Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So all these people that I have met through camp, are somehow still intertwined in my life, and it was just the craziest thing. And my friend that I was with was like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's a kid that I used to teach in Gold Lead training in camp like 10 years ago." He's like, "What?" So I miss doing camp. I know you're probably not doing it this summer, and I know you didn't do it last summer, but if I ever find myself back in Florida and it continues, I'll be the first one to volunteer.
Beautiful. Well, kids, Matt has become a Cypress Woods volunteer also, and some of you I know some of you saw him with me walking around school this year because Matt came on campus. He was going to actually come to our PE classes, but at the last second, due to paperwork irregularities, we were unable to allow him to participate with us, which is our loss. But Matt followed through and actually did all that paperwork. I think it's a great testament to Matt, because here you are, a U.S. Marine captain, and it would have been very easy for you to say, "Are you kidding me? With paperwork? Are you kidding? Why should I do?" But you didn't. You just did the paperwork, and I just really super grateful for that. So I hope the kids that are watching this will meet you someday, and maybe that will happen. Now you'll be in Japan, of course. We'll see what happens. Maybe we can stay in touch in this way that we're doing now. But I want to thank you for doing all that, Matt. And I want to ask you two more questions in our interview here. The first one has to do with PE in schools. In the year 2020 and going forward, what do you think PE should be about?
What I don't think it should be about is metriced competition. Not completely about. I think competition is good in some cases. I think keeping metrics is good in some cases. But if it's constantly, you go to PE and you're trying to win something or not lose something, you're going to turn people off of not PE, but being active, because they're going to associate losing or the feeling they have when they lose with something physical, and think that at that age they are not physically capable. What PE should be about is just making kids and allowing kids the freedom to be outside in a physical setting, the freedom to have teams, and the freedom to interact with each other and burn off energy. I think the team building aspect, conflict resolution, love for doing something physical is absolutely critical. Like, I'll tell you right now, when I was 9, 10, or 11 years old, I couldn't do 4 push-ups. In high school, I was the starting goalie for a team that won 3 games, lost 19, and over the course of 2 years, scored 99 goals on me. Not 100, so I never got to triple digits. I can also tell you that all that losing and all that physical weakness that I had, I've been through, I can say this with confidence, the 2 toughest military courses in America, and I did fine. So those experiences, that the team building aspect, the conflict resolution that encompasses all that, and the camaraderie, helped me pass infantry officer course and the basic reconnaissance course. And you can go on YouTube and look at both of them and let me know if you want to try them. So I think it should be about just making kids enjoying being active, letting them build teams, but also making sure that it's not the winning and losing is not placed on a pedestal.
Matt, that's awesome. You know, we try to do those things. We try to do those things when we do use the metric competition. What we do is we try to measure yourself against yourself, and so we don't do it a lot, but we do. Like we have a lap that we do, and I think it's 1/6 of a mile if I remember it exactly, and some kids can do the lap in about 40 seconds. Some kids, it takes them about a minute and 30 seconds. Some even a little longer. Some a little less. If you're going to do it as a race, and then there's a winner and everyone else didn't win, that's one thing. But if everybody has a personal record and you're able to give everybody their time, you either beat your personal record or you didn't. And so then you have, instead of 100 kids competing, you have 100 individual competitions,
Yeah.
with each of them trying to get better. And so that's how we try to do it. But Matt, I couldn't agree more with what you said about all of that stuff. It's just really, really well said. Smart. So you have, Matt, in front of you now some future teachers, some future coaches, and some future leaders that are 9, 10, and 11 years old. Is there any advice you'd like to give to them?
So I am I'm reading a book, Coach. You'd actually be interested in this. It's called The Coddling of the American Mind, which I won't totally get into, but some of the things I'll suggest are present in that book. My future advice, whether you want to be a teacher or a leader, or if your only desire in life is to be a garbage man, it doesn't matter. Avoiding situations that challenge you is not going to make you any better. And I think it's the challenging experiences in my life that were the defining ones for me. And I think if you try to isolate yourself from any challenges or wrongdoing or any perceived injustice, you're not going to grow as a person, and it's going to be a long road ahead of you. Because in high school, or in middle school and high school and even college, you know, there's a saying that you don't pave the road for the child, you don't prepare the road for the child, you prepare the child for a road. There's actually the ability to prepare the road for the child all the way through college. But once you enter the real world, that's not really possible anymore. So I would start now and embrace hardship, because it only makes you better. And I'm glad that I had the influences in my life that brought me hardship, or at least challenged me. My parents, challenged me to do better academically, or you challenging me to get up off the ground faster when I thought I made a nice save. I distinctly remember these things. So that's all. That's like a pretty high and lofty, and I don't know. That sounds way more intelligent than I thought it was going to. I think more importantly right now is just have fun. Don't worry about what you want to do when you grow up. Just have fun. Try to do different things. Have fun in PE. So hopefully there, Coach, that'll help you out. And try not to stress yourself out with the decisions that don't need to be made for years and years to come. If anybody asks you like what you want to major in college right now, just walk away from them, because they don't know what they're talking about. But that's pretty much what I got on quick notice.
That's really smart stuff. You couldn't have envisioned yourself at the age of 10 and the person you are now, could you?
No. I distinctly remember watching Marine Corps commercials, specifically the one where the guy climbs like the big rock, and slays the dragon at the end of it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
No,
These kids, we've evolved past that commercial, but I remember seeing that. I'm like, why would anyone want to be in the military? That looks really dumb. So here I am.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And thank you for being a Cypress Woods volunteer. That just shows respect for the kids, and I really appreciate that. And
I get emails every week because of that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just like volunteer opportunities. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to be able to go visit Coach Harte's PE, but that's okay. I find it funny. It's a reminder every time I see it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good. Well, thanks, Matt. And I guess we'll call it. We'll stop here. And then maybe, who knows, maybe we'll find a way to pick it back up at some point and connect with you in Japan.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
All the best, Matt. Take care.
Thanks, you too.